What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Weekly. I'm your host, Pee Wee the Plug, and in today's episode, we have to talk about the Draymond Green suspension. But before we dive into that, I just want to remind you guys to make sure you hit that like button for me. And if you're new and you enjoy this type of basketball content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I also want to give a special shout out to everybody that's been reaching out to me on social media, making sure I'm good. I'm bouncing back from a bad, run-in with food poisoning over this past weekend. Been taking some time off from the YouTube and, the podcast to really recover. Anybody who's dealt with food poisoning, you know the toll it takes on your stomach. So I've been dealing with the after effects of that with a lot of abdominal pain and back pain. But in a couple more days, the bacteria from the food poisoning should be completely out of my body and I should be back to my 100% self. And that's when the content will come back with the NBA Weeklies, the Hornet series, back to the podcast, everything that y'all have been missing. So I appreciate that. And that's a quick update. I'm just trying to get back to 100%. It's going to take some couple days, so I'm being patient, whatever. But I do appreciate everybody that's been reaching out and sending me well wishes. But playoff basketball, here we are. First thing we have to address with the Draymond Green situation and his suspension is how phenomenal the Sacramento Kings have been in this playoff series. All season long, or for the most part of the season, when we saw the Kings being a real legit top seed in the West, the entire conversation surrounding them has been the remarkable transformation that they've made to become a playoff team, a top upper echelon playoff team. But for most part, the conversation was around who would be lucky enough to face them in the first round because they will be seen as a weaker opponent for a Los Angeles Lakers team, for a Golden State Warriors or a Clippers team to meet in the first round. And after all of that conversation and all of those talks, I think they've handled themselves really well in the first two games against the defending champion Golden State Warriors. These games have not been anything lopsided or crazy. The Warriors have answered, and the Kings each and every time fought back through the course of 48 minutes, good rotations, proper defense. The offense has been off the charts as we expected, and they made timely shots. And De'Aaron Fox, especially in the last game, showed why he won the Clutch Player of the Year. So shout out to the Sacramento Kings and Mike Brown. Still only 2 games. We've seen this before with the Dallas Mavericks going up 2-0 on the Clippers and still losing that series. Even winning the first 2 games on the road, they still found a way to lose that series. So we know it's a lot of basketball left, but the suspension makes things a lot different for the Warriors and this series. Now, everybody has seen that play 1,000 times now between Domantas Sabonis and Draymond Green. My initial reaction was, damn, that was extremely excessive for Draymond Green. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he should get suspended. That was my first reaction. But then I sat and I thought about it, and I'm like, the NBA probably won't suspend him. They're already down 2-0. They suspended him with the Cavs, and they lost the finals. No way the NBA is going to suspend them. I think they should, but I don't think they will. And sure enough, all of the reports came out. It's unlikely that Draymond will be suspended. The NBA is going to look into it, but nothing is expected to happen. And then, boom, in the middle of last night's exciting game between the Suns and the Clippers, we get the confirmation that Draymond Green has been suspended for 1 game for stomping on Kings Domantas Sabonis. This is the thing. I know a lot of mixed feelings are out there, especially from Warrior fans, because they feel like, hey, Domantas Sabonis grabbed his foot. You know what I mean? This doesn't happen if he doesn't grab his foot. It ain't that bad of a play. But one thing, when you read the articles around the league about the suspension, is they noted that the decision to suspend him was based in part of Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts. And to me, that is the point right there. Draymond Green in this particular play was excessive, for sure. And on Twitter, when I spoke about it, I definitely highlighted that they both were in the wrong. And I agree that they both should have been teed up. But I did look at Draymond a lot differently because I think that his reaction was a lot more worse than Sabonis grabbing his foot. I'll be honest with y'all. A lot of people who are Warrior fans are making big spectacles out of him grabbing his foot. But in reality, if you watch a lot of NBA and you see a lot of that happen, it happens a lot. When a guy is on the ground, we've seen countless times guys grab somebody's foot because it's like what they're doing is you're pushing me on the ground. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hold you back so I can kind of get up and you don't have that, that big of a a head start on me or whatever. Maybe they're trying to. We've seen players pull other players down and things like that. I don't think anybody's trying to tear ACL or sprain anybody's knee or sprain anybody's MCL. I don't think nobody's trying to do anything like that. But I definitely think when players fall, they have a habit of grabbing a player and trying to hold them back as well to allow themselves to be able to catch up to the play. We've seen that a bunch of times. There is also angles of this play where Domantas Sabonis is covering himself and Draymond's leg and foot get caught into that. I'm not here to give Domantas Sabonis a pass and pretend like it was all accidental. He definitely grabbed his foot. But I do have to say, as a guy who's not biased in this series at all, actually on the podcast, I picked the Warriors, but I'm definitely rooting for the Kings, if I'm being honest, because the story is nice. But when I look at the defending champion Warriors who've been through it all, I definitely picked them to win this series. But I could really care less about either team, so I have no bias in between it. I definitely thought Draymond's response was a lot worse than Sabonis grabbing his foot. For me, though, the thing with Draymond Green and why I like the suspension and why I'm happy it happened is because I think since that Cavs suspension, Draymond Green has had, and I hate using this term because they're grown men, but this leash of how he can talk or the antics he can do without really being punished. And I think Draymond Green has known that the NBA, he kind of had the NBA by the ball, so to speak, since they suspended him. So he's always, if you watch the Warriors, since that suspension, he's always kind of been overboard. Even if you just watch the in-between, just watch the full game and just watch his interactions with referees constantly. I'm talking about plays that have happened. The dude is already shooting free throws. Draymond is just yapping and yapping and yapping. You got the Memphis Grizzlies with the whoop that trick last year. Draymond got to dance. He got to be extra. The other night when they played against the Kings and they were reviewing the play, all of the interaction with the crowd, the stuff that was going on in Boston in last year's finals, Draymond brings a lot of extraness that I don't think is necessary. And I also don't think it puts him in good favor in these type of situations because he has this history of these type of dirty plays that are unsportsmanlike. And he also has these antics and this carelessness about him and anything he does. And it also doesn't help the situation that happened early in the season with Jordan Poole. It also doesn't happen that every time something happens, he goes on a podcast and he's almost never in the wrong. Like, it's very, very seldom do you see Draymond in a situation where he's saying, I was wrong or I should have did that. I should have turned it down. But like, Draymond sticks to his guns of being extra in every situation. And I think at this point, it's taken a toll on the Warriors, as we've seen this entire year since the Jordan Poole incident. It's taken a toll on the Warriors since losing Kevin Durant because of the whole fiasco with him and Draymond Green. It's taken a toll on the Warriors now to be down 2-0 to the Sacramento Kings going back home, and they're not going to have you in Game 3. It's taken a toll on the NBA because you're constantly going in your podcast and everything that they're saying you go against, and your opinion about every single thing is so indifferent, and there's very little accountability in any of the mistakes that you make. Even in the Jordan Poole situation, I mean, he took some accountability, but I mean, you damn near had to claw and pull for that. There was even some instances where it didn't seem like Draymond was ready to say that was his fault. And I'm a fan of Draymond Green. I think he's a very unique NBA player with his skill set. I like that he plays bigger than his size. I like that he's shown that you can be valuable without putting the ball in the basket. I think he has a lot of intangibles that don't show in a box score, and I personally love those type of players because I think in today's game, a lot of people watch the games from the box score, and Draymond is a intellectual NBA player that forces basketball people or people who want to be basketball people to actually have to watch and look at the game in a detailed way to see his impact. Do I think Draymond Green has his impact on all 30 teams? No, but I don't think that that's important. I think that whole conversation and that narrative that people put out on Draymond Green it's damn near some hatering type of stuff to say because who cares? He's on the Warriors. He's made a Hall of Fame career with the Warriors, and I don't think the Warriors are where they are in their dynasty without Draymond Green. It's plain and simple. But with all of that being said, Draymond Green does have these issues that he constantly brings, and it takes a toll on the Warriors, and it takes a toll on the NBA. And I think we've seen right here the NBA telling Draymond Green, enough is enough. It's enough. And I'm very interested to see how Draymond Green is going to respond. Number one, he does his podcast, so How is he going to respond there? Is he going to be critical of the NBA yet again? Or is he going to take the high road, say, okay, enough is enough. Let's focus on his basketball and try to win this series? And number two, how does he respond on the court? Do the antics turn up? Does he continue to be what we've seen? Is he being more abrasive? Is he being more out of body? Is he being more extra? And then lastly, I'm interested to see the statement that the Warriors make to Draymond Green. And I think that statement is going to come partly due to Game 3 and how that goes. I'm very interested because I think Draymond Green is in a bit of a lose-lose situation if I'm looking at it from, a different perspective as far as Game 3. Because you look at Game 3 and you say if the Warriors find a way to win that game without Draymond Green, with their backs on a wall like this, that's a huge statement. That's a huge statement. Considering the contractual situation that that Draymond and the Warriors are headed to this summer, that's going to be extremely interesting. If they lose this game, that now puts them down 3-0 against Sacramento with a chance to get swept in a series where a lot of people, like I said, a lot of us love the story of Sacramento and have rooted for Sacramento because it's the underdog story. But when it was time to make professional, analyzed picks, a lot of people went with the Warriors based off who the Warriors are and who they've been over this last decade. And then now see them down 3-0 with a chance to get swept. A part of that is going to look at Draymond Green like, hey, if we had you, we might have could have evened this series at home 2-2. And now it's back to a 0-0 series. And all we have to do is beat a better, battle-tested veteran team that everybody predicted us to be. So I think in those two situations, Draymond Green loses regardless. It's a very odd position for him to be in. And that, again, takes me back to my point. What is the statement going to be from the Warriors to Draymond Green? It has to be a part of Bob Myers, Joe Lacob, Steve Kerr, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, where these guys are kind of tired of it. I honestly thought the last straw was going to be the Jordan Poole situation. I thought that was going to happen, and Draymond was going to be a very good basketball player this entire year, and we weren't going to have anything else happen. There wasn't going to be that many, situations. There damn sure wasn't going to be any locker room, huddle, timeout situations where we're seeing Draymond be super animated with teammates. I definitely didn't think Draymond would be in any scuffles or anything like that. And here we are, back to another situation where Draymond Green is the focal point of a situation that could have been avoided and is again going to put his team and his teammates at a position to have to overcome something that he created. And this, for the last few years, has been the headline story for the Warriors. Steph Curry and company having to save the day and clean up a mess that Draymond Green created. Early in the season, that cloud of the whole Jordan Poole situation, it's like they had to go out there and clean that mess up for him. Last year in the finals with the Celtics, he's doing all this shit, but he's playing so bad. And Steph Curry, he got to taunt the crowd so they can get on his case and take some of the pressure away from Draymond. Bouncing back after losing Kevin Durant based off the interactions that happened with Draymond Green. Losing the NBA Finals against the Cavs when they were up 3-1 because Draymond Green got suspended. They've had to clean up all of these different things time and time again. And it only makes me look at the point of, when are the Warriors going to say enough is enough? And what other team, what other situation is going to continue to put up with this? I don't think this works on any other team. This type of leadership, these type of antics. I don't think Draymond Green can go to the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron James and have these type of situations. I don't think Draymond Green can go to the Detroit Pistons and be a vet on a young upcoming team and get respect like that in the locker room. I don't. And it's just it's an odd situation because it's the Warriors we're talking about. Steph Curry, Klay, Draymond, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, and then you have the young guys of Moody, Kuminga, whenever they start to get ready, and all of the expandable pieces that every offseason they replace or bring back. This team is always supposed to have a window of being great and having that chance to win championship on championship on championship based off of that core. And now James Wiseman has been traded. Draymond has talked about the contract stuff all throughout the year. He's had some interesting comments on that on his podcast. The Jordan Poole situation, free agency looming, the fact that Draymond wants to be paid, the Warriors already committed to Wiggins, now this. And it's like, man, the Warriors didn't lose Draymond. Does that mean Jordan Poole has to become expandable? Because replacing Draymond is going to cost you in some way. There's nobody on that team right now that is ready to replace Draymond. There's been certain flashes over the last couple of seasons that we saw from Kuminga. He's not ready for that. He's a long way from replacing anything that Draymond Green gives you. So in order to replace that in any type of way, you probably have to make somebody like Jordan Poole expandable. Or you're just going to be a team that's kind of cool, but you're not going to have those championship aspirations anymore. You're going to have Curry on his contract. You're going to have to probably pay Klay Thompson again. You pay Wiggins, you pay Poole, and then you're stuck. Draymond Green is putting the Warriors in a tough situation. I definitely think that the suspension was warranted because I agree with them. There's montages on Twitter already right now of Draymond Green for minutes doing all type of stuff. All type of stuff that didn't even garner suspensions then. The same thing Sabonis did to Draymond in a couple of those montages, he's doing to other players. There's footage of Draymond on the green grabbing other people's foot, grabbing other people's legs. There's a whole thing of him and Anthony Davis when Anthony Davis was on the Pelicans. And Draymond Green pulled him down to the ground by his leg. The kicks to Steven Adams, the slaps to people's faces, the wrestling moves we've seen. There's been a bunch of hilarious memes of Draymond Green. I forget, was against the Celtics maybe, on an out-of-bounds play, and he just tackled the whole team. It seemed like he knocked Marcus Smart to the ground. He knocked this guy to the ground. Like, Draymond has a history of doing reckless, unnecessary things. And as great of a player as he is, and as much as I love his game, my gosh. And like I said earlier, even when you sit back and watch a 48-minute Warrior game, especially in the playoffs where the mics is live and you can hear every single thing, Draymond Green does not shut up at all. He argues every single thing. The play can be over. The guy's about to shoot the second free throw, and Draymond is still talking. And that's something that we see in the NBA at an all-time high right now. As an NBA fan in the most critical part of the year, the playoffs, it is so annoying to watch games and all of these guys do is whine and bitch all game long about calls that are made. Once the guy shoots a free throw, the call is done. Once the next possession is played, the refs can't go back and change a call. It's been made. So the arguing, not like every play, somebody is looking, making a face, talking, crying, whining, doing this. One of the games I watched yesterday, we weren't even 5 minutes into the game and somebody was doing this to the coach. Like, what is going on? And that's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother video. But the whining and the bitching and complaining in the NBA is getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. But I look at a guy like Draymond Green where it's like every game I watch of him nonstop. And I really don't think that helps him. Every ref, every front office or league personnel, they're all human. And these antics and the way you carry yourself, the way you challenge every single thing that happens, and you have some type of opinion on everything that happens, it's going to rub people the wrong way. And when you have situations like this, where we use the term benefit of the doubt, based on your history, this is the price that you have to pay. And for that reason, I agree with the suspension. I would love to see the Warriors create a series. But at the same time, maybe I would like to see the Kings sweep them and make the Warriors have to really go into the offseason and make some real decisions and make a real statement to Draymond. I don't know. We'll see. But that's my opinion on this. Like I said, it's so many different angles. There's so many different ways to look at this. Am I saying that Domantas Sabonis is an angel and had nothing to do with this? No, not at all. Because I know Warrior fans are crying all on Twitter as if they have no type of eyes or they have no type of common sense. What Domantas Sabonis did was a flagrant. What Draymond Green did was a flagrant 2 and a suspension. Why? Because it was a lot worse. It's just that simple. I push you, you shoot me, you're probably going to serve a lot more time in jail than me if I go to jail at all. You understand what I'm saying? I just don't understand that part of it too. Like, NBA fandom is kind of crazy, and that's why I stay off of social media as much as I can, because there's so much fandom that people don't even look at things from a proper perspective. It's only from a fan's perspective and in support of their team, which I can kind of get, but I just don't enjoy when every conversation is so biased. It just kind of gets boring and annoying. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Warriors fans, King fans, fans of teams that are indifferent, people who are not biased, who I really want to hear from, not only about the suspension, but the future of the Warriors, the future of Draymond Green. Like I said, I think this problem is a lot bigger. I know the series is immediate. It's the first thing at hand. That's the first thing that's on everybody's mind. But for me, based off the history and everything that Draymond has done and the toll it has taken on the Warriors and in the NBA, I'm looking past the series as well, especially if they don't survive out of this first round against the Sacramento Kings team that a lot of people were saying, hey, the Warriors should be trying to play them. They shouldn't try to win more games and play the Suns. They should try to stay at 6. That'll be the easiest route. This was called the easiest route for a Warriors team. So let me know what y'all think. Like I said before, I appreciate all of the messages, all the support. I'm feeling better. I'll be at 100% very soon, and we'll be back rolling. But as always, I'm Pee Wee the Plug. This is NBA Weekly. I'll see y'all next time. I'm out. Peace.